You wake up again with that same familiar discomfort, the burning, the pressure, the silent fear that it's never really gone. You've followed every recommendation, changed your diet, tried creams, pills, home remedies. For a few days it feels like things might finally be improving, and then suddenly the pain returns, almost as if your own body is betraying you. And that's when the question hits: why does it keep coming back? Why, no matter what you do your hemorrhoids never truly heal? The truth is, it's not your fault. What's blocking your recovery isn't a lack of effort. It's something happening quietly, beneath the surface, hidden inside the rhythm of your daily life. Without realizing it, you're feeding the very problem you're trying to solve. There are three hidden villains acting in silence, sabotaging your body's natural healing every single day. You don't feel them. You don't see them. But they're there, slowing your circulation, keeping the inflammation alive, and undoing the progress you've been fighting for. Your body, though, isn't broken. It's speaking. Every itch, every flare-up, every restless night is its way of saying, I'm still trying to heal, but something keeps stopping me. Most people never learn to recognize those messages. They blame themselves or they blame the treatment, but the real cause stays invisible. For decades, hemorrhoids have been treated as something purely external, something you could fix from the outside with a tube of cream or a quick surgery. But that's not how healing works. When the inner system that controls blood flow and inflammation is disrupted, no external fix can last. It's like painting over rust. It looks fine for a while, but the problem keeps growing underneath. Older generations understood this instinctively. They knew that healing comes from restoring balance, not just numbing pain. They paid attention to how their bodies reacted. How sitting too long, eating processed food, or pushing too hard could turn a small irritation into a lasting wound. They knew the body doesn't fail us. We fail to listen. If you've tried everything and still feel trapped in the same cycle, this video is for you. Today we'll uncover the three hidden villains that are silently sabotaging your recovery, and more importantly, how to defeat them naturally, without drugs, without surgery, by working with your body instead of against it. Before we continue, take a moment to subscribe to Relief Health. Each week we share expert-backed insights on natural recovery and gut health. Simple, proven methods that help you understand your body, not fight it. What's keeping you from healing isn't stronger than your body. It's simply unnoticed. And once you see what's been hidden all along, everything begins to change. Now, to reveal these villains, we first have to understand where they live. Inside the body's most misunderstood system, the one that's been quietly holding you back from recovery. Healing is never random. The body always tries to repair itself quietly and persistently every single day. But when the system meant to heal is overwhelmed, when inflammation becomes the norm instead of the exception, the body stops moving forward. It isn't giving up, it's trapped. And that's exactly what happens with hemorrhoids that never go away. The body wants to recover, but something invisible keeps pulling it back. Everything begins with circulation. Blood is life. It carries oxygen, nutrients, and healing energy to every cell. When circulation flows freely, tissues repair, inflammation fades, and pain disappears. But when blood slows down or pools where it shouldn't, that healing process comes to a halt. In the case of hemorrhoids, the veins around the rectum are extremely delicate. When pressure builds up or blood stagnates there, those veins stretch and weaken. The result isn't just discomfort, it's a loop of inflammation that feeds on itself. That's why creams and pills rarely solve the problem. They touch the surface, but the real issue runs deeper. It's not just about what you feel, it's about what your blood is doing while you're not paying attention. Imagine a small river that used to flow effortlessly. Over time, debris starts to build up. The current slows, the water gets stuck. What used to bring life now becomes a swamp. That's exactly what happens inside your body when the balance between blood flow, movement, and nutrition is lost. And this imbalance doesn't happen overnight. It's built over months, even years, through subtle choices that seem harmless. A few extra hours sitting, a processed meal here and there, ignoring the urge to move or hydrate. Bit by bit, those choices create the perfect environment for the hidden villains to thrive. They don't cause pain immediately, They just make it harder for the body to recover each time inflammation strikes. One of the biggest misconceptions is believing hemorrhoids are a local issue, that the problem lives only in that one part of the body. But the truth is systemic. The veins there are a reflection of your whole circulatory health. When your blood is sluggish, when your body is inflamed, those veins are the first to suffer. And because you can't see that happening, you don't realize it's getting worse until the pain returns. It's what I call the silent loop. Inflammation slows the blood. Poor circulation fuels more inflammation, and together they create the perfect trap. That's the invisible root. You can't see it, you can't feel it right away, but it's there. A slow internal resistance that undoes every attempt your body makes to heal. And once this loop is in motion, even the smallest trigger, a long day sitting, a heavy meal, a single moment of strain, is enough to reignite the pain. That's why your hemorrhoids keep coming back. It's not that your body isn't capable of healing, it's that it never gets the chance to finish the job. But here's the good news. Once you understand this hidden mechanism, you can change it. The body is remarkably forgiving. The moment you remove what's blocking its natural rhythm, recovery begins almost immediately. Blood starts to move again. The tissues get the oxygen they've been craving. The pain, once constant, begins to fade. And now that you understand the invisible ground where the problem takes root, it's time to look directly at the source. The three hidden villains that live inside your daily routine, silently feeding the cycle of pain. Once you see them, you'll never be fooled again. The enemies that keep you trapped in this endless cycle don't look like enemies at all. They hide inside your daily comfort, your routines, your habits. You think you're doing nothing wrong, and yet, without realizing it, you give these villains everything they need to stay alive. They don't shout, they don't announce themselves, they work quietly, day after day, undoing your body's efforts to heal. The first one hides in stillness. It's the illusion of rest. We live in a world that tells us to sit down, to relax, to spend long hours in front of screens or behind desks. It feels harmless, even necessary. But your body wasn't designed to be still for so long. Every time you sit for hours without moving, blood flow slows. The lower veins become congested and pressure quietly builds. You may think you're resting, but inside, your body is suffocating. The circulation weakens, and the veins in the rectal area of the most delicate ones in your body start to stretch. You don't feel it right away. It doesn't hurt at first. But with every hour of stillness, the strain increases, and the foundation of healing crumbles. The second villain lives in what you eat. Food should be fuel, but for many people, it has become poison disguised as convenience. Processed meals, refined flour, excess sugar, they ignite a fire inside the body that you can't see but always feel later. Inflammation. It's subtle, slow, and constant. It makes the blood thicker, the vessels weaker, and the healing slower. You eat something that tastes comforting, but inside the body is fighting for balance, and that fight never ends. This villain doesn't act overnight. It works in the background, eroding the body's strength one bite at a time. The result is always the same. Slower repair, constant irritation, a body that keeps trying but never fully recovers. And then comes the most dangerous one. The effort you think is harmless. The moment you push, strain, force what your body isn't ready to do. It seems small, like a quick moment in the bathroom, but for your veins, it's an earthquake. The pressure skyrockets, the delicate walls stretch beyond their limits, and the inflammation flares up again. It's the kind of damage that doesn't show immediately, but accumulates like invisible cracks, and every time it happens, the body has to start all over again. The wound that was almost healed opens up once more. These villains work together like a team. The stillness slows your blood, the food fuels the inflammation, and the strain reopens the wound. They keep your body trapped in a loop that feels endless, and because you can't see them, you blame yourself instead. You think, maybe I didn't try hard enough, or maybe I just have bad luck. But it's not luck, it's a pattern that you can break. The first step is awareness. Once you recognize these hidden habits for what they are, they lose their power. Because the truth is, the moment you start to move more, eat better, and let your body do what it's built to do, the cycle begins to reverse. Circulation returns, inflammation fades, the pressure drops, and what once felt like a curse becomes a memory. These villains only exist in silence. When you expose them, they disappear. And that's the turning point, when your body stops being the battlefield and becomes the ally it was meant to be. In the next part, you'll see what happens when these villains finally lose their grip. You'll discover the natural reaction of your body when it's no longer under siege, how healing begins, gently, powerfully, and inevitably. The moment you stop feeding the hidden villains, your body begins to wake up. Slowly at first, quietly, but with a certainty that feels almost miraculous. Healing doesn't announce itself with fireworks. It begins in silence. It begins when your blood starts to flow again, when oxygen finally reaches the tissues that were starving, when inflammation stops being the dominant voice inside you. The pressure fades, the swelling softens, and for the first time in a long time, your body feels safe enough to heal. It's fascinating how quickly the body responds when it's no longer under attack. The veins, once stretched and inflamed, start to strengthen. The tissues rebuild. Circulation becomes steady again, carrying nutrients where they're needed most. The pain that used to feel permanent starts to fade, not because of a pill or a cream, but because the body is finally being allowed to do what it was always meant to do: repair itself. People often forget that healing is the body's default setting. It doesn't need to be taught, it just needs the right conditions. Every cell in you knows how to regenerate. The problem is that we keep getting in its way. We block the process with poor habits, chronic stress, and choices that feel normal, but drain the system. Once you remove those obstacles, everything changes. Your body doesn't need you to fight. It needs you to stop fighting against it. Older people who learned this lesson always describe the same experience. They didn't find relief in medicine. They found it in patience, in small, consistent changes that allowed the body to catch up. They walked more. They ate clean, unprocessed food. They drank water. They learned to listen. And slowly their bodies began to respond. Less pain, better digestion, lighter days. The healing wasn't fast, but it was real. You might not notice the change in a single day. It's something that grows quietly, like morning light spreading across a room. One day you wake up and realize the burning isn't there. The pressure you once dreaded is gone. You move differently. You breathe differently. And in that moment you realize it wasn't a miracle. It was your body, finally free to do its job. That's the beauty of natural recovery. It doesn't just fix a symptom, it restores a system. It reconnects you with the rhythm your body was designed for, a rhythm of flow, balance, and calm. Once that flow returns, the cycle of pain loses its hold. The body remembers, it rebuilds trust with you. If this message is making sense, take a moment and share your story in the comments below. How long have you been dealing with this? What has worked for you? Your words might help someone who's still stuck in silence, searching for a sign of hope. Because when one person heals, it shows others that it's possible. And when you heal naturally, you don't just remove pain, you reclaim control. In the next part, we'll turn that understanding into action. You'll learn the daily rhythm that keeps your body strong and your recovery permanent, the plan that transforms awareness into lasting relief. Healing isn't a moment, it's a rhythm. It's not something that happens once and ends. It's something your body learns to repeat when you give it the right environment. The plan isn't about perfection or rules. It's about building a quiet partnership with your own body, step by step, choice by choice, until health becomes your normal state again. It starts with the simplest act of care: water. The first thing your body needs every morning is hydration. Before coffee, before food, before anything else, a glass of water tells every cell it's time to wake up. That single act jumpstarts digestion, boosts circulation, and brings oxygen back to the tissues that have been waiting for it. It seems small, but that's how healing begins, with small things done consistently. Then comes food. Real food. Not packages, not powders, not formulas, but what nature actually gives us. Fresh fruits, leafy greens, fiber-rich grains, healthy fats, food that your body recognizes, that it can use to rebuild. Each meal is a message. It says, "You're safe now, you can repair." And the more often your body hears that message, the faster it responds. Movement is the next pillar. Not intense exercise, not punishment, but gentle motion that reminds your body it's alive. A short walk after meals, a stretch before bed, breathing deeply while standing instead of sitting. Each movement pumps new blood through the veins, carries away inflammation, and reminds the tissues to stay flexible. You don't need hours at the gym. You just need to keep the river of circulation flowing, and then rest, the most underestimated medicine of all. The body heals in silence, in stillness, when you sleep, when you breathe deeply, when you let go. In that space, your cells rebuild what was damaged during the day. Without rest, healing is like planting seeds without sunlight. You need both motion and calm. Balance is the language your body understands best. This plan isn't something you do once. It's a new way of living. It's the opposite of the habits that once hurt you. Where stillness used to trap you, movement frees you. Where processed food inflamed you, nourishment soothes you. Where strain tore your body apart, patience puts it back together. And when these changes take root, you don't just feel better, you become better. There's a moment that comes after weeks of consistency when your body stops reacting and starts remembering. You feel it in the way you sit, the way you breathe, the way you move through your day without fear. That's when you know the cycle is broken. The villains that once controlled you have lost their grip. Your body is no longer at war with itself. This isn't about discipline, it's about respect. The body doesn't need to be forced. It needs to be understood. And when you start listening to it, it listens back. Every glass of water, every healthy meal, every step you take is a conversation that says, I'm on your side now. And when your body believes that, it does the rest. In the final part of this journey, we'll close the circle. You'll understand what true recovery feels like. Not just freedom from pain, but peace with your body. Because once healing becomes part of who you are, the fear of it ever coming back simply fades away. Healing isn't just about getting rid of pain. It's about what happens when pain no longer defines you. It's waking up one morning and realizing you didn't think about it. You sat down, you moved, you lived, and the fear that used to follow you is gone. That's the quiet victory of recovery. It doesn't arrive with noise, it arrives with peace. For so long your body was treated like the enemy, something to fight, to control, to silence. But it was never your enemy. It was your ally, doing everything it could to protect you, even when it hurt. Pain was its language, inflammation was its warning, and those symptoms you hated were simply messages asking for attention. When you finally listened, everything began to change. You learned that the real villains weren't inside your body, they were inside your habits. The sitting that seemed relaxing, the food that felt comforting, the strain that seemed normal. All of it was quiet sabotage. Once you saw them, you took their power away. You replaced them with water, with movement, with patience, and in that moment, your body stopped fighting and started healing. The transformation isn't just physical, it's emotional. Because when you stop seeing your body as a problem to fix, you start seeing it as a partner to trust. You stop rushing the process and start honoring it. You realize that every small choice matters, and that healing was never about doing everything right. It was about doing the right things consistently. Now you move differently, you breathe differently, you live differently. And that's not just relief, that's renewal. Your body remembers what balance feels like, and now so do you. This is what real recovery is. Not perfection, but peace. If this message helped you see your health in a new light, share this video with someone who needs hope, someone who's still stuck in that same endless cycle, believing their body has failed them. Show them that healing is not only possible, it's already waiting inside them. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Relief Health. Here, we believe in healing that begins with understanding. Every week we share calm, evidence-based ways to reconnect with your body, not to control it, but to cooperate with it. Because true health isn't about fighting your body, it's about learning to listen to it. Remember this, your body has never been against you. It has always been on your side. Even in pain, it was trying to guide you back to balance. And now that you've listened, it's thanking you. Not with words, but with silence, comfort, and freedom. That's what healing sounds like. Not a battle, not a struggle, just the quiet rhythm of a body finally at peace.